The Marine Corps is changing drastically in ways we never thought ever in our lives we would see this. And that's because we are seeing for once the Marine Corps conforming to the population, which has been different because we've all known the Marine Corps has been known as the few, the proud, the people that conform to it. You're joining a brotherhood of what this is. But now the women of the Marine Corps have broken that brotherhood and they're now making their own way. And this has been going across everywhere, social media. People are having their own debacle and, ideas on it. But it says Marines may be inching closer to allowing women to have ponytails. It says the Marine Corps has released its latest guidance on approved hairstyles for female Marines. Jeff Schogel says. Now, there is a lot of stuff to this that is not going to be in relation to how relaxed it is over on the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, right? But it is a progress, and I feel like it's a half step if they're going to say anything here. But let's read through it. Jeff says, the Marine Corps appears to be gradually moving toward the day when women in the service will be allowed to wear unsecured ponytails and not have it tie their hair into tight buns. Now, if you guys don't know, the Marine Corps pretty much has this expectation of every woman to be Amish and not be able to have their hair down and it be slicked back, and it's slowly inching its way back year after year to where they have nothing. Or it's just so tight and so uniform that it is just an unwritten rule, that it is beyond the regulations. Even the males understand that every haircut has to be on a Sunday. There's nothing in writing that says that, but every Marine Corps barbershop is filled on a Sunday. So it says, under the latest changes to approved hairstyles for women in the Marine Corps, women with medium length hair can wear a half ponytail or two half braids when not conducting physical training, Corps officials said. Now let's move that way. But it says, prior to these changes, female Marines with medium length and long hair could only wear half ponytails during PT. Women in the Marine Corps are still only allowed to wear full ponytails when they're conducting PT, unlike female soldiers, sailors, Airmen Guardians, and the women in the Coast Guard. So, if anything, the whole idea of uniformity is just not there, right? We're all going towards one uniform, one standard. The tattoo things went away. The hair standards are changing. The Air Force and the Army almost look the same to me, and it's confusing, right? Including the Space Force. Let's not forget about those guys. We're pretty close, but not yet, and this could be a couple decades. We know how long it took for the tattoos and now for this, but and by the way, if you guys forget, the Navy, there's ball caps people wear, and women were required to wear the ponytail or the bun or whatever below the strap. And then it finally got approved that they could put it behind and in between where the strap connects. Crazy, right? But anyway, it says, hairstyles for women in the military have long been a sensitive issue. While approved military hairstyles are ostensibly intended to ensure that female service members can wear their helmets and other headgear, these regulations have not taken into account different types of hair, especially for black women. Now, to not really go too far back in the weeds, if you guys don't remember, I believe it's 2013, maybe somewhere around there was a black female that was in the Navy that worked over at Recruit Training Command where the Navy's boot camp is located. Now, during that instance, she had, I think it was some kind of twist or braid, and she went there and they were pretty much giving her a hard time because her hair was not in regulations. Now, from that instance, they did administratively separate her, but it was crazy to see only a little bit after that, they allowed her to come back, or not come back, but they allowed her hairstyle, but she was no longer in. So when I look at that, I'm like, yes, this is still being noted over a decade later, but we'll move on. Jeff continues to say, prior to allowing female soldiers to wear long ponytails in January 2021, the Army found that tight bun hairstyles required by the military put black women at severe risk of traction alopecia, a medical condition in which people lose their hair due to constant pulling on the follicles. And that's been known across the board for years. This is not a secret. It's just finally acknowledging it if you talk to anybody. But it says, Marine Corps Uniform Board number 220 come out of the Marine Corps decision on additions to approved female hairstyles. Hair twists for short hair, maximum length for medium length hair. And it says here, hair length must not obscure the collar, rank, insignia. So obviously you have to still be able to see that. But it is allowing to go beyond this flap right here. It says not to be more than 2 inches below. So even still, you're going to see that in-between hairstyle, the medium length that I think people are going to see. We haven't seen any changes with this uniform board for male haircuts by any means, and they still remain the most strict as far as that goes too. It says, when styled, long hair will be secured up, not to extend more than 2 inches below the bottom of the base of the collar. Where this got really confusing for a lot of people was the fact that the Marine Corps collar drops down like in this curve pattern. And so the verbiage that someone puts on here by saying 2 inches below the collar, like that doesn't mean this bottom one. That's not what I'm reading from this, because that would inherently cover your rank. So that would have to be the higher up backside of it, which is what they show in the picture here, because there was a lot of, people contending which collar part they were speaking of on social media. Is all over the place. But it says, direct result of pulling hair tight in Army personnel or panel presentation on traction alopecia found, if I could talk, affects of 1/3 of African American women who wear prolonged tight hairstyles. It says Army Lieutenant Colonel Andrea M. Peters wrote in August 2020, a letter published by military.com, that as a black woman, she had to go to great lengths to meet the Army's hair regulations when she was a cadet at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, New York. Excuse me, I mean, this is difficult too because I don't know the exact hair regulations right now. I'm not going to go back through it. But I do remember there being an iteration for the Navy where you can only have so many bobby pins in your hair too, because they didn't want it looking so unprofessional. But it's like, you got to have this medium length hair. You want to, be able to pull it up, but you can't have too many. But if you have too many, you're screwed. And then you look at this, it's just, that's what's causing this to happen. So I appreciate it. Obviously the males have dealt with the PFB, pseudofolliculitis barbae, as well, and we're seeing that not be an issue really as much anymore too, because now they can't be separated just based on that. But this woman that they interviewed said, I was rushing to straighten my hair with the home no-lie relaxer made of calcium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide as an active ingredient, Peters wrote. The relaxer burns the scalp, often leaving sores or irritated, tender skin. But this was all we had to meet the service regulation and the desire to look professional, quotations, squared away, and quotations, beautiful at the Academy and in the Army. And this is no secret. The Marines, they, like I said in the beginning of this video, they are above, beyond. What is a metric? We will destroy that metric, even if it's in black and white, and adhere even further, right? You guys remember during COVID, it's like, I don't only have one mask, I have two masks. And, so, it's kind of like, how can we be so compliant that we become over compliant? It almost seems like, which is what makes the Marines the Marines. So that is why I see this interesting that they're trying to change culture with this. But it says Marines are encouraged to avoid alcohol-based styling products, styling wet hair and hairstyles that cause undue tension on hair follicles, according to the Marine Corps admin message. And it says, which was released on the 23rd, in order to minimize potential damage from daily hairstyling, Marines are encouraged to avoid alcohol-based styling products, styling wet hair and hairstyles that cause undue tension on hair follicles. There is no requirement to have tightly pulled back or slicked back hair at any length. Now, I feel like as much as this is written, you're going to have somebody that's going to come through part of the old Corps saying that someone should, I didn't say slick back. I didn't say, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to see the nuance of this and where we're going to see a friction point. And so, I think we're going to see several years. I don't know, because I mean, if you look at like a female drill instructor that's out there, they're tight out there. You know what I mean? They're mean. They're always like this Latina chick that's like Colombian that wants to kill your head off and bite it off and just destroy you. I don't know why, but that's what it is. And she's got a frog voice. It's kind of weird. But it says, retired Marine Gunnery Sergeant Juliana Zaragoza told Task and Purpose that she feels the updates approved hairstyles for female Marines are a needed change, and that the grooming standards are meant to maintain professional appearance, and that she says the new standards improve practicality and functionality in many aspects, allowing more hairstyles that are easier to maintain and permitting greater comfort and flexibility without sacrificing professional appearance. So this is, what we look at from every perspective here. Is this a functionality issue? Is this a, aesthetic look issue? Where do you guys sit on it? Because for me, I'm like, as long as you got it up and it's not looking like you just are frazzled, like your Hermione Granger from Harry Potter, sure, have something up to at least do that. But, I'm wondering if this black and white will actually translate into Marine Corps culture and what that means for women coming through, and also what this means for men, as far as hairstyles going through this. I'd love to hear if there's anything else that they're going to relax like this. What do you guys think should be the next case that they look at? Let me know down in the comments below if you have this topic or other topics you want to talk about. Hit me up all over on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.